The Branden Albert story picks up with his uncertainty about playing football in high school in Rochester, New York. Branden's mother works long hours to support her family, and Branden, the youngest of three, has little supervision when it comes to schoolwork. But things are going to change. Her oldest son, Ashley, who stayed in Maryland after college, is just the missing mentor her youngest son needs.
I got the call about the 9th grade. He failed.
To be honest with you, I don't know if I did care. I really cared, or I was just going with life at the time, living in the moment. Really didn't think about my future. My mother worked 9 hours a day, so when she got home, she didn't know I was skipping school. Or when she did find out, I was mama's boy. I was the youngest of three, so she'd yell at me, but she only had so much energy to try to keep up with me.
He went to a school that I didn't think that he was ready for, and my mother tried to keep him away from the public schools, which at that time was turning pretty rough, where there was a lot of gang violence, a lot of all the inner city stuff that you always hear about with city schools going on with the school. And
not because I couldn't do the schoolwork, it's because I fall into the pitfalls of being a teenager, skipping school, not getting into any real trouble, but just not handling my business. And I failed 9th grade twice, and things weren't looking too good for me at the age of 17, and something had to be fixed, and my brother helped fix that.
My mother said I got to send him down there with you, you and your wife, my wife Nikki.
I had no desire playing football. I always wanted to, but I was scared. For some reason, I just I'm a basketball player. My brother's like, man, stop thinking you're a basketball player. I'm like, no, I'm a basketball player. So when I moved with him, finally, after all the summers, and he, when I was getting in trouble with the school, he said, it gave me a stipulation and said, if you want to live with me, you got to play football.
Branden transferred to Glen Burnie High in Maryland, with his older brother and sister-in-law committed to changing his attitude and his focus on football. The school football coach was the next person to see Branden as a young man worth investing in.
I remember standing outside along the curb, and I remember his brother getting out of his car, and then Branden gets out of the car, and first I said, thank God. And then, I don't think I'd ever seen a high school kid, because he came in right before his junior year, that big.
What really gave him the focus was right when he went to the Maryland camp, his junior year going into his senior year, and he was going against a lot of guys that were considered top 5 that was coming from this area, top 25.
And all these guys, they getting all this praise at this camp, and they knowing who's this kid, I ain't know whatever, and I didn't like that feeling.
When they had to take off the equipment and give the equipment back to the equipment managers, I just remember coming around him sitting on the hill with his head down, and I stood back and I just kept saying, yep, I know it's that time with him.
That summer, after that experience, I hit the weight room. I lost 20 pounds, 30 pounds. I was running 2 miles a day with a trash bag on. I was going old school.
His work ethic, his attitude, his aura around him, his personality made him a leader.
And at that time, Branden started carrying like a B average. He went from like failing Fs to a B average. And started turning things around dramatically.
I think when the accolades started coming in, whether it be football and or basketball, he realized that, maybe I do have an opportunity at the next level to do this, and then further.
It was that spark at Glen Burnie, and finally at Hargrave Military Academy, where Branden prepped for 1 year before college, that Virginia coach Al Groh was given a glimpse of raw but big Branden Albert.
It was towards the end of recruiting season of his senior year. There was a coach on our staff, Kevin Ross, whose dad at one time was the head coach of the Chargers and the Detroit Lions. Kevin was our running backs coach and head Glen Burnie High School. At the end of the recruiting, what I wanted to have was a big man weekend. I wanted to find a big man that maybe wasn't there yet, but that we would judge to have a significant upside. Certainly Branden fit into the big man category with not necessarily a dynamic resume, but perhaps with a real good upside.
That upside was about to pay off for the University of Virginia, paving the way for Branden Albert's rise to the top of his craft.